record. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. We hit record and we're going to take a look at things. And there will be the whole discussion about the epic for security policy, security orchestration policy. And yeah, we are trying to investigate what will be the best approach for us, because we see that we have approaches from compliance team, we have approaches from our team, and we discovered a few things. So yeah, let me go quickly through what we have right now. So in those previous demos I was recording, I've prepared something like that, like the storing security policies in repositories. I won't go through the code, but it seems like what compliance team is proposing right now with their work, it's pretty similar. If you take a look here, you can see like it started in the same place and so on. So they also have an idea to extend the current pipeline service and to be able to inject something into that. The difference between us and compliance team is that they have a YAML file with configuration that is stored on under some project like that, and we have to dynamically generate it. So that's the whole difference. But apart from that, we could actually reuse the services they're using right now. So for example, here they have like the content, but here they are directly reading those configurations in one service. Like they're doing everything in one service. That makes it a little bit harder for us to abstract it and have something in common. So I'm not sure still if we're going to reuse something or not. We have to decide at some point. For now, we can have separate files. Yeah.
Some notes on that. I talked with the compliance team member yesterday, and so now it's one-to-one. Okay, so one project has one compliance.
Oh yeah.
And it will be many to many in the future. So
just like us.
Yes. So in the future, like, you know, what they are thinking is like, so for instance, you have different compliance tasks, right? GDPR, SOC, whatever, GDPR2, you know. So you will be able to say that, like, you know, they call it label. So my project has those labels, you know. Those labels could come from group, or they could be assigned to project. Now it's just assigned to project. You know, it doesn't come from group. So those like labels basically are just YAML files that you can define whatever you want inside.
Yeah.
Okay. And this service they extend is just make sure whenever you run pipeline, you run what you define in those YAML files as well. Yeah. Just for the clarification.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks.
Yeah. So the same. Yeah. So I found it very similar, because you can put anything in those YAML files. You can put branching, you know, you can even schedule normal pipeline, and your compliance job will run. It's a scheduled job, and you know, a lot of similarity. Okay.
Yeah, that is true. Actually, this is actually great that you found out this one, because exactly, like the main difference between us and the compliance team is that they are preparing the YAML file with like the whole config by their own, and we'll have to generate it dynamically. But apart from that, it's very similar. If not
can you clarify when you say like dynamically generate? What do you mean by that?
So we have our own structure for storing policies like that, right? So you specify rules and actions, and then in the middle, when we are like assigning the project to repository with policies, then we have to add the logic that will read those policies and then generate the YAML file with CI configuration for it, right? Because we need to either like generate the file or extend the current configuration with it. So what they're doing is like, okay, I have a separate project. I keep the compliance GitLab CI YAML file, and it will be automatically included in every single project that's assigned to that compliance, right? What we are doing, it's a little bit different, but the logic that is underneath is the same, because at the end we want to extend the current pipeline, CI configuration with something that is defined in different place.
So what I'm struggling here is like, you know, like what you describe, you know, I can do this thing right now with their compliance thing.
Yeah.
Like right now with the compliance thing, by just writing YAML, you know, so I can say, you know, run Dust, you know, on those branches, with those profiles, with
Yeah,
just using compliance framework.
that is true.
Not even writing a single line of code. It's just writing YAML for those branches. So I don't understand the difference. You know.
So I believe for now, if we're talking about MVC, like of course you can
Yes.
achieve what we want by using their component, like the compliance feature.
Yeah.
At some point we have to build the UI on it. You have to simplify those
Yeah.
things. I believe we're doing like at the beginnings are very similar. Like of course you can do that, and the other thing that you could do, like you can go to instance settings in your admin area, and then you can specify required pipeline configuration, and then you can specify, oh, I want to do like dast on-demand scan, and that's it, and then you can save it, and then it will run for every single project that you have on your instance of GitLab. Like this is the other way
Yes.
you can have it. Like GitLab is unique in the way that you're actually able to achieve similar things by multiple like features, and it's good. Sometimes it's confusing, but I believe here the difference between compliance and the policies for us is like compliance is talking like it's a broader perspective, in my opinion.
Yes.
Policies are focused mainly on security stuff. Compliance is more like, oh, what kind of features would I want to have enabled in GitLab or enforced in GitLab that allows me to achieve certain like certification or compliance, right? So
Yes.
this is what it is for us. Like for now, we can go to the MVC. Like for now, what we need to have is being able to associate the project. Okay, maybe do we have a goal here? Here, enforce require dash scans to run whenever a project pipeline is run according to the configuration, and specify that I can be confident that I'm regularly detecting new vulnerability.
Yes.
And actually this problem we can solve with compliance easily,
Yes.
as you described. The
Yes.
thing is, we want to improve the user experience on that. So that's the whole difference between us
Sure.
and compliance team.
Sure.
So okay, users will be able to associate security policy projects with similar how we have cluster management projects. So being able to assign the repository with policies with given project, that's one thing. The other thing, being able to create policy in that project. Okay, so that's what we have right now. Like you specify the policy as YAML file, you specify rules that, okay, for whenever pipeline is running on these branches, do dast with given profiles. That's it. That's what we have in our proposal. Then users will be able to reference an existing scan profile and site profile. Okay, so this is what we have here. I'm not sure
Yes.
if you want to keep the names or we want to somehow think about IDs, because I'm not sure if I'll go to security on-demand scans if we can get the IDs. Probably not. Probably IDs are hidden from the user. We can think about, oh, I don't have anything here. I think at some point we can decide if you want to keep the names. I've used the names because we already have it, but maybe we should come up with some idea of keeping the IDs or some unique identifier or something like that. So you're not relying on names that can be changed, but on something that
Yeah. This
that
is
is unchanged.
yeah.
You don't
But
have
I
it here.
still yeah. I still have struggle for our MVC, like the difference we are creating. I am struggling for real.
Mm-hmm.
Like I cannot see the difference that we trying to achieve in the context of this small iteration.
Oh, okay.
Like what we were gonna do different? Like what we gonna do different so that I don't even have the implementation comes to my mind, because like I wanna do this different, so I can
Mm-hmm.
think of okay, then I can achieve it like this, but I cannot think,
Okay. So
because my mind goes to the compliance framework then.
yeah.
It's like I tell you the solution of an algorithm and you cannot think anything else because that's the one.
That is
I
true.
say like you use hash map, you say okay, and then you can solve this problem with array because hash map is just fits. Is what I am having at the moment.
I know.
So
I know. That's good that I wasn't aware of that, because maybe I was not biased towards any solution. No, I was thinking how we can solve that without using anything that we currently have in GitLab. So
yeah.
yeah, what we could have using this compliance, it would be like compliance, GitLab CI YAML file, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to create it. I'm not going to use it because I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm not able to use it yet. But and I can specify. Okay,
You
I'll
say
just do
that.
the simple.
Yeah.
Include template SAST.
Yeah.
And so, okay, maybe let's use it as DAST, because if you want to test on demand, that's what we want to achieve. Test on demand.
Yes.
And then what else do we want to achieve? Then it becomes tricky because you need to specify variables. So actually those variables by default,
but
you have to take them like site URL, like this is like test on demand site URL and so on. So you have to specify those. And you're storing them somewhere on the as YAML file instead of giving them like from the database where they can be stored more securely.
But do you see the potential? We can also say if you open that MR that I send you, that the compliance works, the MR that.
Wait a minute. Is this no? It's this one, right?
Yeah. So for instance, let's go. Can you go down a little bit? The where they inject include. If you go down, if you go down, the
description.
A little bit more. So here, right? For instance, pipeline full configuration path. So you can also say if it has security type compliance, do your magic, do your logic in there.
Yeah.
Like if you have security compliance, you want to fetch the dust from database, do it. Like you want to inject something, you want to change YAML, do it.
Yeah. This solution with compliance would work. Like the main thing is that the UX user experience for that would be bad at this level, because you need to configure it on your own. Like you cannot click it. I believe the whole goal for it is to be able at some point to be able to drag and drop things or select like build rules like we have for other policies. I want to do this, you drop downs and so on. For now, I agree that maybe instead of having like separate structure for YAML files and so on, and then converting them from one format to another is tricky, and it would be easier to actually specify the compliance with proper DAST configuration and so on. I believe that like those first steps are the same. At some point, we're gonna move absolutely in different ways, because we want to have a simple user experience and a rich user experience at the same time. You would like to click through it and generate the whole thing, and they will have like the compliance team created something that's so powerful. Like you can do whatever you want.
Powerful. Yes.
But at the same time, it requires you to have some knowledge about the CI thing and the configuration and so on. Of course, for us, you also need to know the structure of our YAML files, but it's a little bit easier. And at some point, this will be converted to UI. So I believe for now, I agree. We could leave with what they are proposing, but we want to build something that we will reuse in future. That's the goal.
Sure. I mean, like, just to clarify, I don't mind doing this, as long as I know what's the difference. Just the problem I have is just I cannot see now the difference.
I know.
It's like we did in alerts feature, right? We used alerts backend completely, but it's in different UI.
Yeah.
It could be the same. It could live in different UI experience, different view, but at the end it will be the same. Because what they have is, from my point of view, super powerful.
Got it.
And here, right? You don't because they use CI directly. They don't need to do this YAML conversions and stuff.
That is true.
Like so, you will parse the branches. You will try to inject those branches in the code. They don't need that, because they just use valid CI YAML configuration for branches. So it's like 100%. Like, if there is something wrong, that is wrong in the whole GitLab, So it's,
that is the risk that we have to take. Yeah, like this is, I believe the whole thing is more. Those are questions probably for Sam, because this is like the product vision that he has. If you ask me, you know, we are both engineers. We are thinking about simple solutions with what we already have. It's like no need to reinvent the wheel to develop that. If we can reuse something that's already in GitLab, but I believe for end user, it would be beneficial for them to have simplified process of configuring it. Now, we'll see, because like this is also a simplification for the UI. You know, it's with iteration, it's all about, oh, we take the small step and try to see if that works. If customers will say, oh, I don't like it, it's pretty bad user experience, I would have something different, then I'm pretty sure we're not going to do that, you know. But it's all about being able to quickly get the feedback. That's my vision. Okay. All right, so let me go to this MVC once again. Okay, I'm just going through things that are needed in the proposal, and then we'll see how it works, and I'll go to the code and try to elaborate a little bit on that. Users will be able to reference an existing scan profiles. Okay, that's what I was talking. So this is this one, being able to select those. We're thinking if we should have ID or names. For now, we're gonna stay with names. Users will not be able to edit or delete any scan profiles or site profiles that are referenced by an active policy. And that's something that I was not yet thinking about that.
Yes, me too. I wasn't thinking about this.
Because you have those names here, and then you need to create some kind of hook. And whenever you try to delete something, like delete site or scan profile, to see, oh, is there any configuration like this policy, security orchestration policy configuration assigned to given project where I have those profiles? If yes, then go through policies and see if there's any of those profiles mentioned, and then prohibit from deleting. Like that's the simplest solution I can think of right now. Obviously,
but I think I don't know. Should we like focus on this now? You know, that's
probably not. Probably not.
We should omit that proposal from there. You know, proposed, because
this is something that
we have a weak.
Yeah.
We have a weak link now. It's just a name, right?
Yeah,
that is true.
That is true. And actually, in MVC, and not MVC, but in the source code I've proposed, whenever you write something wrong here, it will not include the Dast configuration, but it will fail. Like the job for the Dast on demand will fail and say, oh, there is something wrong with the configuration. Take a look. That was my vision, just to be able to give the feedback to end user. Okay, so I have a simple project that is defined here. I'm gonna just hit run pipeline. So I'll just show you what we have in the policy. This project is assigned to this configuration project. So with policies, so I have two policies here. One to have a Dast, and the second one for SAST. SAST for every branch. So that's very simple. And I will just go quickly to the CI GitLab CI project, because it's very simple. It has only one job that is doing only echo as a script, and that's it. Nothing's more. And then I hit run pipeline. Pipeline will run. We'll start. Okay, so we have it, and we should have this job that was defined in GitLab CI YAML file. Then we have SAST, and then we have Dast. That's what we have defined, and then it will run. I can go to the previous like how it was run before. This is the one. So we have all jobs passed, and when I look into Dast, it uploaded the artifacts. Everything is here, but I don't know why. This is something I need to investigate, or we can investigate together. When I go to security, I do not see any vulnerabilities found, even though they are some found for this job. So probably it's about like naming or some other stuff, and it was not treated as something, as a vulnerability report. I don't know. Like this is simple things we need to take a look, but it is one thing that is missing, and I definitely need to look into it. Okay, and I was telling you that whenever I modify
it, yes, this is what you demoed before, right?
I demoed it, but if I look into the code, a little bit different, because I was looking at the, let me just grab this one. Okay, and the compliance team some time ago, I don't know when, how it's called, like required RP. Let me, where do I have it? Yeah, okay, required processor. Okay, so I was telling you previously about the feature that is here, the required pipeline configuration that you can specify and so on. So actually, it's all being, like, the magic is happening here in that class. So it takes a look if it is configured for
that functionality.
Yeah.
For that functionality.
Yeah. And I was looking into that code, and I was thinking, oh, maybe we could do something similar for security policies. And that's what I did with the processor for security policies. But like, I prepared other MR, like the MR that you already seen, and I was demoing, and the approach that I took there is similar to the approach that the compliance team has, and this is a different approach. So I have two approaches, and I wanted to discuss with you, or maybe you can do it offline, which would be the better for us, because obviously we need to choose if we want to go in similar way to this feature or similar to compliance feature. Because like both will solve the problem. We simply don't know yet how we can solve it.
Okay, so the thing is with compliance team that we need to be aware of as well. So the way they do things, their overwriting mechanism takes precedence of everything. Okay. So they actually, they do, like, so when you say, like, if you open a compliance YAML example in that MR, if you open that MR, like if you go like description of that MR, go up. So yes, they have examples. If you go down, maybe they just put the, okay, they didn't, it's in the video. Can you just go? Okay, it's in the video, sorry. So you described compliance GitLab.yaml. You are actually running that CI. You are running that YAML that includes the project's YAML. You don't run project's YAML anymore. They override on that.
Yeah, that is the difference. We that's certainly something that we'll have to.
We have
because we're gonna extend it.
Yeah,
we're gonna extend it. We're not going to run like different YAML file. We're gonna run the project YAML file with some extensions to it. So that's the difference. That's something we need to decide how to do it properly. I prepared two versions, and to be honest, like both are okay, both are working. Obviously, we'll have to get some MRs checked by CI team, because we don't want to break anything here, and we are doing like.
So when I point out this, the way we want to do CI team, that's how the conversation starts. The CI team cannot see the difference how the compliance team is doing and ours is doing.
Okay.
So so this is how all the conversation started. So I said we want to do this, and the CI team says, "What's the difference with that?" And I I will come back to the same thing though, like, okay, we achieve the same functionality with a different algorithm. But like user-wise, what will be the difference? Like, what is the difference for the first first iteration?
Only the experience. Like, so yeah, I agree. That's something we'll have to tackle. I hope we'll link this video for them, and they'll be able to understand like the whole like the bigger picture. I know, because that's the product questions, I believe. Like, what's the difference in terms of what user wants? I don't know. To be honest, like we could use something as you described, but at the same time, this is a little bit different in terms of how you use it, because you have to specify the project, you have to the separate project, and that separate project you have to store YAML files with policies, and then you have the logic that converts that to CI configuration as YAML file, and then we're running it. So that's the difference.
Like
If
for
you,
the
yeah,
not for the recording, like I'm like concerned as well, just the sake of the diverging. If we just diverge backends,
yeah,
we will duplicate a lot of work, because what compliance teams long uh, vision is really aligns what we want. They have two-step approval. They want to improve a UI. They want like they don't want also just YAML. They want compliance jobs to be configured by UI as well. So if we, the first step is kind of important. If we diverge there too
yeah,
much, we will have to implement what they are doing, like somehow all the
that
time.
is true.
Adopt,
Yeah,
like they have the two-step approval, for instance. They have,
yeah,
like, because you have groups, you have like all this, like you can configure. You can give these permissions to people which can configure what. So they
yeah.
already cover those inheritance of groups. They already cover those. It's just, I'm just telling for the sake of this recording, whoever
And
will
this
watch
is
that.
good. I believe Matt from compliance team is coming back from paternity leave today, and I
Yes,
believe he'll talk with Sam
yes,
about that, because that's definitely, like, they have to agree on the product level what we are going to reuse, and how the process is, because if it's the same, then obviously we have to go and like join forces and build it together. For
yes.
MVC, it's always the code that we can remove at some point. Like we don't want
Okay.
to wait for them to develop something. They don't want to wait for us until we develop something. I believe, especially, that our plan is at some point to replace the YAML repository stuff with UI. And I believe for now we are trying to deliver something that we will be able to ship, and someone will be able to run it and see if they like it or not, because that's the product decision
Yes,
that Sam has to take anyway. If it's worth investing our time and investing like his time and talking with customers and so on. So yeah, this is the valid questions. We engineers are we have a tendency to simplify things and to uh, or do things with the tools that we already have. But I believe for the
yes,
product people, it's a little bit different. So yeah, I'll go quickly through the
yes.
code here for the recording, so maybe you'll be able to better understand what's going on here and how I achieved that. I will go maybe file by file.
So
Maybe I'll
another,
collapse.
just
Yeah.
another note. Excuse me, I interrupt you. Just the sake of recording, right? Like if we do like MVC again, and you need to make sure that you backwards compatible as well.
Oh yeah.
You know
Yeah, that's true.
that's also a cost.
Yeah, that's always a
That's
cost.
a
Yeah, like,
yeah. Just to mention that, right? Sorry,
yeah.
you go ahead.
No worries. I'll collapse things that are not really important for the conversation, like for example,
Sure,
extending the finder with being able to find by names. Like this is just to be able to
sure.
find scanners, like profiles and scanners by name. Like this is the same. We have, okay, I've added the license for it because you need to be on Ultimate to have it. I believe you've asked this question to Sam. I believe it's for
Yesterday,
Ultimate, right?
yes.
Okay.
Another quick note. I think you need to add the feature flag as well. I cannot add
Yeah, I
separately.
believe I've added it here in this
Okay,
MR. I'll just
that's
get it.
awesome.
I'll leave it as it is right now. I'll go to it in a second. Another service and another service. Oh, okay. I looked into Dast services, and for example, you have run Dast scan service. Well, what this service was doing previously, it was building the template, and then it was like running it. I I just extracted the logic that's responsible for preparing the configuration for running on-demand task scans, because I need to reuse it, and I wanted to just extract that. So I extracted that to task scan CI configuration service.
Yes,
So that that's one thing. And here, oh yeah, and that's the logic that was extracted from this run that scan service. I'm going to collapse it as well. Not needed for that conversation. This is needed. The create, okay, that's on-demand scans create service. That's another thing that I extracted from this class and moved the whole logic to params create service. So this is the service that actually is taking the Dast scanner profile and Dast Dast site profile, and they're converting that to to environment variables that are used in the scan. So that's also something that I had to extract because that was all happening in one service, and I wanted that I wanted to reuse that code, not only copy paste it. So I'm closing it as well. And this is the service I created to extract that logic. Not important for our conversation. This is the service I've developed to prepare the configuration, and that's okay. Okay, I have a feature flag here. Of course, we don't have like the URL of the MR because we don't have it yet. Rollout issue, I believe that's the one that you already prepared yesterday.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
okay.
test fails if you just put the feature flag. Anyways,
Yeah,
side note.
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have this file and the processor and the config. Okay. Oh, here I had to modify a little bit the Dast on-demand scan template. I'm not sure why we have build, test, and deploy stages when we're running on-demand scan, because on-demand scan do not have those stages.
Yeah.
It has only Dast. Probably it's a mistake because that was copy paste made like from Dast GitLab CI YAML file. I removed it because yeah, I'm using only one stage actually for it. But anyway, like this is not really important for this conversation. Maybe we should talk with Dast's team to understand why they did that. Actually, I don't believe this change is needed anymore because I changed a little bit the way we generate the YAML file with the Dast configuration. So I'll get to it later on to see if it's needed. Okay.
So
here, yeah.
let me just summarize the overall achievement that you are trying to make to confirm my understanding.
Yeah.
So you are just getting you are just putting your job at the end of the pipeline by
Yes.
just coding it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. By extending.
So you don't know whether you have like a running Dast job. How do you check that?
I'm not checking that. I don't care
Okay.
if it already has, because we're enforcing it, and the difference between having Dast configured as a step in the pipeline and having on-demand scan is that you can have different like profiles. You want to check different things and so on. So that's the difference between when you're running Dast normally, you have to deploy it to review app, and then Dast will run on reviewed app. Here with on-demand scan, you have to have the URL for the app you would like to test.
Okay, so we don't check Dast jobs.
No.
How do you check the branches that's given are there? Do we check it?
We do. I'll show you in a minute. I'll just collapse last things that are not important for the whole conversation, and we'll go to it. Just quickly, I had to extend the GitLab CI config with ref. Ref is simple. I'm specifying it from here. I need to have an information on what branch are we currently running the pipeline, and it was not passed to the class that is generated the configuration. So I had to add it. So I added the ref, and the ref was added here.
This is like a used by, okay. This is used general class we are extending, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We're not removing anything. We're extending it, so hopefully it will not destroy anything. Okay. And then we have, and then I can start talking about changes I made into the code to make the magic happen, right? So we have this config AE file, and previously, if I'll, oh shoot, will it? Okay, all collapsed. Yeah, GitLab is working fine. Okay, here if I go to config AE, I don't. Wait a minute. Config. Okay, let me just go back to master. So as I told you previously, I've reused the logic they had for requiring on instance level, requiring the templates to be included into CI job. So I'm extending the config e file with one additional class. So here how it was before, we had build config that is actually like doing build required includes and add and reusing what we have defined in config. And here I'm just doing the same. I'm just adding additional step because we're still having this, and we need to have additional step to extend the config with things from security orchestration policies. That's it.
Okay.
So I have the processor, and what it takes the config. The config is a hash with the configuration of the CI. Then the project, we need to have a project to properly find the DAST profiles and ref to know on what branch are we currently running the pipeline, so we know what jobs to include or not and not. Okay, so that's for the config. And then we have for the processor, and this is the place where the magic happens. So as I said, I have a config, project, and ref. And if feature is not available, it's on for a given project, we're not going to extend it. And if it's not enabled, we're not going to extend it. Enabled, it's defined here if the feature is enabled. So the feature flag. So we're actually checking if the feature flag is enabled or not for a given project. That's it.
Okay.
Nothing else.
No. Okay. I mean, okay.
Right? Okay.
We can talk about these details a long time now.
Yeah.
So what I want to ask, like, why don't we
Mm-hmm.
just inject our code to what compliance have?
Okay, let's take a look at their MR.
Let's discuss that instead of like, going through like, so why don't we like, that's so one methodology is yours. And for me, like, why don't we say like forces here, there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another line, if you have security compliance configuration, security compliance configuration model, like gets the content of that YAML, get the content of and convert it into a proper, like, valid CI job. You can convert into a proper CI job with variables and everything, even though user experience is different there, like you said, profile and convert everything into a valid YAML file and add as a job.
So, okay, let me take a look here. Let's see how it could look like, because what they currently have is a little bit okay. So, okay, so they have right now to include something from the compliance YAML file. They have this path and path project, and they simply are replacing the configuration of the YAML file to have only this include project and file, right? So for us, what would be a little bit different is, okay, if it's compliance, I'll just compliance YAML file, then do this, right? And the other solution would be to else or else if security orchestration policy, like something like that, right? And then you have and then we need to do something here. And you're saying that what we could do, and that is a valid point, what we could do is like generate CI YAML file from policies.
Yes.
And somehow include it here. Or maybe okay, like configuration look like that, and then configuration include, and then you need to include what they have. So like project, and like I will do the same path project, and file will be the same. Okay, actually it will be similar to this guy, but the only difference would be to probably merge.
Yeah, merge, because we don't want to break their stuff, right?
So
no, we need to like in align with
we need to take a look. Maybe that's something that you can do, because I will be biased towards my solution already, and you already are biased towards compliance. So maybe what you could do is to investigate that, take their code, take the code that we have for the policies, and see how we can do that. I believe if you go to the code here, what will be interesting for you to do that job. Actually, let me go to this MR. Yeah, actually here, if you will use that code like GitLab CI config security orchestration policies processor, and instead of providing the like proper configuration of the like current configuration of the CI YAML file for a given project, you specify empty hash. And if you'll specify empty hash here, what this class is going to generate for you is the YAML file with all jobs configured according to this security orchestration policy configuration. And then you can take that YAML file and inject it into this place and see how it goes. That's the other solution that we can take, like combine those two together, because we still need to be able to generate the YAML file, but the only difference is where to put the YAML file itself and how to do it. So that's the other solution.
I need to get myself familiar with this.
Yeah, definitely. Like, because I'll just go quickly and tell you what certain things are doing here. So this processor is actually taking the, like by default, it's taking the current configuration for the project, and then extending it with templates. And that's it. And those templates are here, like it's defined like that. Merge security orchestration policy template. And actually, it's pretty simple. We are just reading those templates by using template finder and reading the content of it, and then loading YAML files from it. Oh, one thing to mention, and that's not needed for MVC, but to be able to think about the whole solution as it is, I was not thinking only about DAST, because DAST is very specific to GitLab. Like SAST, we need to think about like other scans as well. So in this MVC, I'm supporting all of them, all security jobs, because that's simple. Those jobs are specified here. That's what you can have, like fuzzing, container scanning, coverage, license, SAST, and so on. And this is the template that's associated with given type. And these types are actually those types from that one. So I have action, scan, SAST, and then we take that SAST and convert it to a template name. And then in this model, we're reading that template name. Template finder will help us here. And then we're using YAML file to load it. And that's it. And then here we are reading for every scan that is defined. So, okay, I'm using like scan templates method here. If you'll take a look at the scan templates, is go to active policies, select those that are applicable for the branch. You're asking about that. So here's the logic for applicable for a branch. It will just take a look if the branch is matching the wildcard. That's it. Take the actions and from actions get scans. And pluck is a method on hash that is taking the value of hash from array of hashes. Like, I know that it's tricky. It's actually working the same as pluck on active record stuff, but it's doing it on hash. And then going and taking a list of templates that we should use. And that's it. And then we have it. Then we're reading the hash. We're generating we're parsing the YAML file. Then we are deep merging all of them. So we're reducing them. So instead of like having like multiple templates, we're combining those templates together. And we're using config extendable here to properly, how to call it? Like, okay, I'll go to SAST quickly, and I'll show you that. Maybe that's, so every single SAST job has this extends. And what it does is something that it's addition to what YAML is offering. So it will just take that, go to the SAST analyzer, which is defined above, and will include the things from that into the job. And then it has another like extents, which will take this one, and so on, so on. So that's the way it inherits the configuration by jobs, right? Right, and this extendable will simplify the whole YAML. It will remove all extents and it will include the things. It will actually extend the YAML file, right? So that's how it is. And this is it. So as a result of that method, you'll have a YAML file. You'll have a hash with the configuration for running certain selected scans. Okay. And for on-demand scan template, it's a little bit different because we have a project like a class that is doing that for us. So I'll go quickly here. I'll just tell you.
Okay, I think we should just do a specific solution, Alan. I think it's too general for the first iteration.
Probably. No, I always try to think big. That's the difference.
And
maybe,
we discover every day a new thing, and making this general solution with a lot of moving parts. You know, like, you know, we just talking about we should think at iteration, and we're talking about, like, you know, making a general design. Like, if you're gonna think about future, we shouldn't be talking about this at all. We should be talking about compliance teams thing, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you know, so
that's why we're discussing it, just to be able
yes,
to have something in the middle, you know, because you know I'm thinking about that, you're thinking about the compliance. We need to combine those ideas to be able to develop something in next
yes,
milestone. So
yes,
it's up to us how we're gonna do that. Like, okay, I was talking about things that are not important for now, but here is the class that it's important for now: on-demand scan pipeline configuration service. And this is the service that will take the project, take the list of actions defined in policies, and it will prepare the configuration. So it's very simple. It will load the YAML file with the configuration, and then it will extend it with all variables from Dast profiles, and that's it. And if there's any error, instead of having the proper configuration of Dast job, it will create something like that. It will create a script job that will say, oh, there was an error during the execution, this error message, and it will exit with false. For now, I'm allowing failure to be true. So like the error could happen, but it will not block the pipeline. But that's something that can be changed at some point. Yeah, I'll create a MAR for it, and you'll take a look if you like it or not. I will not create any tests for it because that makes no sense to invest time in it.
yeah, what you can do is, like, also I would suggest like not thinking to support other security scans, because we don't know which direction we're gonna take. Like, this is my opinion, you know. Just do it the Dust and create an MR, you know, and just shoot it to CI team, because you know, we are changing, like, a general interface as well that's used, you know, and like, you know, for the compliance team didn't have to do any of this stuff, you know.
That's true.
They touched last, and let's create a simple with one, because if you put other security scans and stuff, people will confuse. I was confused there, you know.
That is true.
Like, you know, we don't try to communicate overall idea there. We are like, oh, we have our overall solution of security scans are doing great. We want to communicate the overall strategy that we want to take, so with other teams, to make sure we don't mess the most important part of GitLab. So, you know, minimum bare Dust solution, you know, I'll look into that MR. I'll try to combine with others. Like, once you have this base MR, what do you think? I'll try to combine with the others. But we can shoot this MR to CI team. Say, guys, this is, you know, how is this thing looking like to you? Like, what you guys see?
That is a great idea. Yeah. You know, that is a great thing that you mentioned. That definitely.
And I can look into both, like, MRs. I can look, you know, if I found something, you know, just that, you know, if I find some pitfalls or something.
Yeah.
I am personally, I'm supportive of any idea that will move us, you know,
forward. Yeah, that is great.
Forward.
That's great. And,
you know, but I saw, yeah, you know, that's it. Like, you know, I'm not like, oh, it has to be this, or, you know, it has to be that, you know, whatever the quickest and the, you know, the most, you know, make our team move forward is the best.
That is great. That is great that you mentioned that, because I have a tendency to think about the whole solution, like the final solution, but thinking how to build it in steps. So I was not needed actually to think about other scanners. But yeah, I proved to myself that with given solution we're able to like extend it in future. Maybe it's also happening.
Yes.
It happened because I truly believe that supporting many scanners at the very early stage will help us uh, get better feedbacks, because not every project needs to have DAST. You have projects that are simple like libraries that they are not really deployable to any website that you can run DAST on. That's why, maybe if we allow users to select SAST instead, or like other types of scanners, then it will help us get better feedback, or have feedback at all. But that's definitely something we need to discuss with Sam as a step towards our iteration. Great, thank you.
So like,
and
like in that, like, that's thinking, right? So if you make one mistake, you will make 5 mistakes with all analyzers,
That is true.
if you like, go into that step, and you will have to support 5 different analyzers in backwards compatible way, so we are doing like a happy path kind of testing. We are doing like, looking like, okay, it's working, it's working. Our GDK, we did like, we don't know extensivity, like how extensive edge cases we have. I mean, that has a pros and cons.
That is
approach
true.
has
pros
and cons.
I appreciate your feedback. This is great comment.
But yeah, that's why. Yeah, what do you think? Is it like,
It's actually great.
I'm easy. I'm easy.
It will simplify the workflow. It will simplify the review process. I believe what we've proved here is that we're able to actually achieve what we want with other scanners with this approach, which is good. We have invested some time into it. However, I'm gonna just create a separate branch, and I'll just keep the copy of it, and we're gonna reuse it at some point. So like nothing is lost here. I'll just jump on, create the project, create the MR. I'll send it to you for the initial review, and then we'll decide what to do next. What do you think about writing tests for it? I don't believe they'll be needed right now, because we want to just show the general idea. But maybe tests will help us and others understand it better.
So what I'm thinking is, so let's imagine you made a minimum MR now. I don't mind writing tests to it, obviously, and we show it to CI team. Okay, we show it to CI team, and I can look into writing tests to that. Also, I can look into how we can put that thing working with the compliance framework as well.
Yeah,
both
that
of them.
Great.
We do like an options evaluation at that.
Yeah, that is great. So maybe we can do it like that. I'll prepare the MR.
Yeah.
You'll take care of looking into how to combine it with compliance framework, and then we'll see which option will be better. And I can write some tests for the things that will be generic anyway, that will be working for both solutions. For example, like generating the DAST configuration will be working in both, either in the compliance framework or for us, because that's the same thing. What do you think about that?
Yeah. An important thing is like to get the CI team's feedback as quick as possible.
Definitely. Okay.
Because that was they were the ones that pointed out that thing to us instantaneously.
That's great. That's great.
So they know their code.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Thank you for that feedback, and thank you for making sure we're not redoing ourselves and redoing work for others. So this is great. Great discussion. Okay. All right.
Thank you for your writing at MVCs, man. Thank you for making the first step. First step is the most difficult one, right?
That is true.
That is true. Yeah. We can always build top on something, but you are the one who made this something. So thank you.
Thank you again for all your feedback and your help. That is tremendous work. Thank you. Okay. Have a nice one.
Okay.
Bye.
You close. Okay. Yeah.